And welcome to today's webinar brought to you by the Canadian Professional Sales Association and Teneo results. At the CPSA, we're pleased to offer membership rewards that help you perform better, deliver more consistency, and accelerate your success at every level, from entry to leadership. Membership in CPSA helps you build your sales career with development opportunities and professional designations that recognize your skills. You also get connected to a network of senior sales executives, entrepreneurs, sales managers, sales representatives, and sales agents to help you learn and grow and join the inside track with exclusive sales tools, training, and resources to propel your performance. As an extra, you'll get huge savings on travel and more. The CPSA professional sales designations represent achievement of a standard excellence in sales. We offer a designation for every step of your career, whether you're new to the profession or a seasoned veteran leading a sales team. A Certified Sales Associate, or CSA, holder demonstrates a solid basic knowledge of success in fundamental sales roles. The Certified Sales Professional, or CSP, sets the gold standard in the industry, representing at least 4 years of experience in sales and a deep commitment to the highest levels of sales excellence on strategic accounts. Lastly, the Certified Sales Leaders, or CSL, have what it takes to impact both an organization's bottom line and its overall sales culture. Get in touch with us if you'd like to learn a little bit more on how you can achieve a CPSA designation, or visit cpsa.com/designations. Please note that you have been placed on mute for the duration of this webinar, and you may ask questions during the Q&A session using the Ask Questions function in your GoToWebinar dashboard. Hosting today's webinar is Lisa Leitch, a goals junkie who's driven by the mantra, be strategic, be proactive, be brave, and has been successfully training and coaching our sales leaders and their sales teams to do the same since 2003. Teneo Results has been a CPSA strategic partner for the past 12 years and is CPSA's newest accredited partner. Now, without further ado, I'll hand it over to Lisa to start.
Thanks, Brooklyn. Great to be here right at the CPSA offices to host this webinar today. So let's begin. Before we start to look at your future goals, let's look back first. What is the goal that you're most proud of? The goal that actually makes you smile and you know that it was well worth the effort. I certainly remember my first goal, which was the $1 Million Club at the sales organization that I worked with, Marco Sales. I just started in sales, and that year at the Christmas party, they introduced the new $1 Million Club. I had only had a couple of sales under my belt at that point in time, but I knew that I wanted to make sure my name was going to get on that plaque. I had no idea how I was going to do it, but I became more strategic, proactive, and definitely brave in order to get my name on that plaque the next year and continue to do so for the next 10 years while I was at that organization, then grew to become their VP of Sales. So what is the goal that you're most proud of? What was the effort it took in order to help you to get there? Most of these goals that we're most proud of, it doesn't come easy. It takes effort and a lot of discipline and tenacity in order to be able to achieve those goals. Was it worth it? Absolutely. So now I want you to think forward. What is a goal that you want to be able to achieve? Kind of one of those big, hairy, audacious goals. What's a future goal that you want to be more proud of? And this is what we're going to do, is to take a look at how we can actually help you to achieve your goal, but more importantly, what gets in the way of you achieving your goal. So the biggest mistake salespeople make is that they set those goals, set them aside, and then forget them, kind of like New Year's resolutions. It's so easy for salespeople to get sucked into the daily grind and not focus on the end game or the strategic plays to win the game. You can easily avoid this mistake by simply planning and posting your goals. I'm actually surprised by the number of salespeople who don't always know what their goals are. When I ask, what's your sales goal for the year? They always have to think about it or pull out a piece of paper, whatever it may be. A goal should be something that you are so committed to and know exactly what you want to be able to achieve. So we're going to take a look at some polls. Let's find out some insights as to the number of people here. I know that we've got a great number of salespeople. We've got sales teams that are gathered here in the boardrooms. So let's open up a poll, Woodland. So we've got 5 questions that we're going to be asking people related to their goals. Question number 1, will you achieve your sales goals for 2018? You've got 4 options here. Yes, already slam dunked it. B, almost there, but you will hit it by December 31st. C, not quite, probably within about 10% of the goal. Or D, nope, not even close. We'll give lots of good answers coming in here. We'll give it about another 15 seconds. I can see the responses coming in, and it's a close match between A, B, and C. Well, the majority of people have voted. This is awesome. Okay, we'll be able to share all the responses to the polls in a few minutes. Poll number 2. What are your sales goal increase for this next year? So is it between 1 to 5% increase? B, 6 to 9%? C, 10 to 19%? D, ambitious goal, 20% plus? E, don't know my goal yet. Oh, we're getting lots of great participation. Over 60% of people already voted. Oh, another close match between B, C, D, and even E. Okay. Third question. What is your sales goal for 2022? That's 3 years from now. A, no idea. Don't plan that far ahead. B, my company sets those goals. C, steady growth, so about 20 to 30% in the next 3 years. Or D, double my sales in the next 3 years. 4 choices. And a close match between A, B, and D. These results are going to be very insightful. Okay. Question number 4. What gets in the way of you achieving your goals? A, there's never enough time. B, I set them and forget them. C, my goals are unrealistically or overly ambitious. D, me. People are being very honest on this one. Almost 70% of the people have voted already. Okay, and the last poll. What is the strategy you deploy to achieve your goals? A, growing business within my existing clients. B, hunting and prospecting to secure at least 5 new customers. C, new products introduced by your company. D, asking for referrals. E, winging it. It works for me. It's Friday, so we're having a little bit of fun with some of these poll responses today. And we almost had 80% of people have voted. Okay, so we're going to close the polls for a play. And we'll be sharing those polls very shortly. And also, please post your questions in the chat line. We'll be taking questions in between some of the different obstacles that we are going to be sharing with you. And we're going to be having time at the end of today's webinar for any questions, perhaps even a little bit of coaching. I love to coach people on their goals. So let's take a look at the reality of goals. According to Forbes, only 53% of sales reps are achieving their goals. This is pathetic. Now, even though many organizations and the entire sales team is achieving the goals, the individual performers on those teams are not quite hitting the mark. And so we want to take a look at how we can turn that around, because sales professionals are vital to the success of organizations and businesses, and certainly to this economy. And in order to be able to have thriving businesses and a thriving global economy, we need to be able to have very successful sales professionals. As they say, nothing happens until a sale is made. And we need a lot more sales to be happening in order to be able to take this 53% and move it up to that 70, 80, even 90% goal. So let's take a look at, if only 53% of salespeople are achieving their sales goals, what's getting in the way? So I've identified 7 factors or obstacles that inhibit sales success from you achieving your goals. So the first factor is your boss. You may think, what? My boss? How can my boss get in the way? Well, what happens is most bosses provide salespeople their sales numbers. They provide the goals. The problem is that it becomes your sales boss goal, not your goal. And so what happens is people accept the goal, but they don't truly own it. Now, many sales leaders say that the reason why they actually provide the goals is because they think that salespeople just won't quite give them the sales goal they're looking for. I see quite the contrary. Just last week, I was coaching a team, and the owner and president of the company sat on those coaching calls. He was astounded that when I asked each of the salespeople individually, what is your goal for this year? And then more importantly, what is your goal from 3 years from now? He couldn't believe how ambitious those goals were. So again, my advice is you ask, what is your goal? Because then that person owns it. Then, as a sales leader, coach, boss, if they've given you their goal, it's like giving you gold in the palm of your hand. It's their goal, not your goal. And it makes it much easier to be able to coach and motivate the salespeople because it's their goal, they've committed to it, and they own it. And they're going to be far more committed to achieving those goals. The next factor, number 2, is strategizing beyond the 1-year goal. Many times people look at goals and they'll typically go, yeah, I want to look at a 5 to 10% increase. But when we ask beyond the goals, what is it that you can do? It's amazing how people start to think bigger, more strategic, and certainly brave. So we need to take the time to take a look at how do we really be proactive? What can we do to be proactive rather than reactive? And when we're able to do that, we can map out those goals. Let me give you a great example. When my husband and I were co-chairing a community campaign, we were asked to raise $500,000 for the community center and arena. We were most excited about this. And my husband had found out that the library was also going to be launching a campaign. Well, rather than competing for funds, we felt it would be much more strategic to combine the campaign and actually market a $1 million campaign. So we were looking to market $1 million in our small town for both the community center and the library. We launched this campaign and it took off like crazy because we had a strategy of being able to focus on the larger businesses, the family farms, and also the organizations that can contribute to that. And within 6 months, we'd achieved $500,000. We were already halfway there. Then all of a sudden, we hit a little bit of a bump in the road, and all of a sudden, things got stagnated. And we were at about $800,000 to $900,000. And many of the team members said, you know what, let's throw in the towel. It's too easy to just give up. And so what we wanted to do was to say, nope, we were committed to $1 million. We need to create an event and be able to make that happen. And it worked. So having that strategy, we created an event, and we called it Celebrating with Success, and we were determined to hit the $1 million goal. Well, we exceeded it by an extra $55,000, and there we are celebrating the achievement of that goal. So again, lots of strategy, bigger goals, and it's amazing that in less than 23 months, we were able to achieve that goal. So that's what it's all about. So let me share with you a goals table. This is one of my favorite templates in working with many different sales teams to be able to help them to think strategically and bigger picture. So a few things that we have to look here is, first of all, we want to take a look at how do we look at 3 years, 1 year, and 90 days and be able to map it out and then be able to apply the SMART criteria. The other important factor here is to look at just not sales goals, but 3 key goals. So we can set our sales goals. And again, if you're looking to be able to double your sales in the next 3 years, this is where we can start to take a look at. All it takes is 26% an increase each year, and then you can be able to map it. And again, we suggest that you look at 3 years and then be able to map it backwards. The next category of goals is professional development. As salespeople, we need to get better at what we can do. So as a professional goal, this may be something about, it's becoming a sales expert in your industry, perhaps even becoming a sales leader, or for many of you, you may want to actually earn your sales designation. So a great 1-year goal would be earning your CSA, Certified Sales Associate designation, and then your 3-year, that gold standard, earning your CSP. Personal goals. I believe that we need to be well-rounded because we can work a lot of hours. Sales can be almost 24/7. So we need to have a personal goal that allows us to actually turn off our cell phone and do something for ourselves. Now, many of the personal goals that I see is I'm going to join the gym again and lose that 10 pounds. Well, is that a goal that really gets you excited, that you're willing to be able to turn off your mobile device and be able to just do something for you? When you set a personal goal that gets you excited, you're able to turn off work, think about things differently, and do something for yourself, and you become much, much more productive. One of my long-term personal goals was to actually start running, and there was just this inkling. I kept seeing everything about a marathon and thought how cool it would be to achieve and complete and finish the finish line of a marathon. And I'll certainly share with you that I was able to achieve it, but with a lot of effort. Other people like my husband, he sets a personal goal because he loves to be able to have an old car. So one of his 3-year goals was to be able to buy an old car, fix it up. He loves being able to putter after work in the garage on that car because it reduces all his stress. His 3-year goal was to be able to get that car operating and be able to drive it down the road, which he has achieved. So again, take a look at how do you map out your 3-year, 1-year, and 90-day goals, and then be able to take a look at the different categories so that you're well-rounded with sales goals, professional development goals, and certainly personal goals. And we'll certainly talk about the importance of being able to celebrate those goals. So let's take a look at the third factor, the pipeline. The pipeline is an instrumental tool to help you to be on track to achieving your goals. Now, most salespeople are overly optimistic when it comes to their pipeline. Here's where we need to be a little bit more realistic. So again, we need to be able to make sure we're doing a better job of qualifying our opportunities, because salespeople are like, I'm going to close everything. On average, most salespeople's closing ratio is 25%. So if you were looking to actually have a $1 million goal, that means you would have to have on average $2.5 million worth of opportunities in your pipeline. It's what most people don't do enough of. So again, take a look at your pipeline. What is it they need to have? Look and crunch those closing ratios to be able to make sure how are you continuing adding to the closing ratio and being realistic about what your rate is. This will actually help you to make sure you've got enough in the pipeline so that you don't fall short at the end of the year. Factor number 4, our buyers. Buyers are blowing reps off, and it's eroding confidence. Buyers, customers, even our favorite customers are extremely busy these days. And the unfortunate thing is they just don't have time for salespeople. So here's where salespeople have to certainly do a far better job of being able to be on their A game. They need to be able to articulate the purposeful reason to meet. And then when they secure that meeting, and a buyer may only give you 5 or 10 minutes, is you need to be able to articulate and demonstrate the consultative conversation. Ask great questions about their business and what you can do. Great sales rep needs to be able to earn the meeting and earn their business, which will then earn the trust and build confidence. There are many different types of buyers these days. When we take a look at the demographics in the workplace, for the first time ever, there are 5 generations of buyers or people working in the workforce. This makes it much more challenging, and we have to take a look at how do we adapt to these different types of buyers. Whether it's your traditionalist, the person who started the organization, 40 or 50 years ago, who just wants to still be there. We're selling to him or her. Baby boomers, Generation X, millennials, and now we're starting to be able to see Gen Z entering the workforce. So again, we have to be able to adapt our sales approach to the different types of generations to be able to appeal to them. When you take a look at a 28-year-old buyer who is being approached by, let's say, a 62-year-old boomer, what do you think that 62-year-old boomer is thinking about that 28-year-old millennial? And what is that 62-year-old boomer thinking about the 28-year-old sales rep? So again, we have to take a look at different perspectives. We don't share these things, but these are things that we're thinking inside our head. So again, we need to be able to very quickly overcome some of these demographic challenges that we're seeing in the workplace. Number 5, it's easy to create excuses. One of the personality traits of sales success is the trait of responsibility. There are sales competencies, and one of the key competencies is responsibility. And as a salesperson, we need to be responsible for achieving our goal. So for the goal that we've actually set, we need to be responsible to achieve it. It's too easy for salespeople to come up with excuses, such as, I just lost a big client. Oh, the economy. There's back orders that we can't get out. My competition just launched a new product, eroding our market share. The company just had a reorganization, so we're just not quite sure where we're at, and all sorts of excuses to not achieve our goals. Or one that we see most often is the buyer's delayed the decision, and it's not a priority for them to be able to purchase your solutions at this time. So again, we have to take a look at what do we need to do to not create excuses. And the best way to do that is to be able to identify obstacles. So when you set your goals, what are the obstacles that are going to get in the way? All of those excuses we just came up with are many different things that are going to come up. So we need to be able to figure out what we can do to go up, around, over, because when we can identify the obstacles, we'll be in a much better place and be in a proactive and being able to play a offensive game as opposed to a defensive game. So I shared with you that one of my goals was to be able to complete a marathon. When I first started running, I was literally running hydro pole to hydro bowl. My 90-day goal was to run 5K without stopping. Then it was 10K, then a half marathon, and I so wanted to be able to achieve the goal of being able to achieve that marathon. I identified what all the obstacles were going to be that I could encounter. So I had a couple of different running buddies that I could train with, because you know what? It's easier for me to actually hit the snooze on my alarm clock than get out of bed. But if I know my running buddies are going to be waiting there, I'm much more accountable to others than I am myself. I also knew that I needed to have motivation during this run. I mapped out a weekly plan. I do lots of training and traveling, so I needed to be able to figure out where would I be running in different cities and how would I get my 10K running in the middle of the week along with my long run. So scheduling those runs right in my calendar helped me to stay committed and proactive to achieving my goals. The other thing that I knew is this run was down by the Lake Erie, and there was not going to be a lot of runners, and the 2 people that I was running with were much faster runners, and I certainly didn't want to hold them back, and I knew there was no way that I could sustain their pace. So one of the things that I did was I actually gathered other people to help me throughout the run to be able to get me through. And here's my sister-in-law, Lindsay, and my 2 daughters, Taylor and Alexa, who met me different parts of the run, especially the last 10K, which I'd heard was the most difficult to run. Now, there was one obstacle that I didn't anticipate. It had been beautiful weather in the spring as we were training for this, and then all of a sudden there was a terrible rainstorm. It was the opening day of bass season. They canceled the opening day of bass season because they didn't want anybody fishing on the lake, yet the marathon still went in. So as you can see, it was a wet, soggy rain. And I persevered throughout it. My shoes were wet. I was soaked. My hat kept blowing off, but I persevered and I crossed that finish line. So I have accomplished my first and probably my last marathon of being able to achieve it. Number 6, we will fall down. We just don't get up fast enough. So sales is very much like a roller coaster. There are lots of ups and downs here. And so one of the things, I had the opportunity to meet and hear Bonnie St. John, a downhill Olympian skier. Now, when Bonnie was 5 years old, her leg was actually amputated. And she never let that get in the way. Even though she grew up in California, she decided to become a downhill skier and made it all the way to the Olympics. She tells a great story where she's at the top of the hill, visualizing how she's going to make it down and place and looking towards that gold finish. She really had a very ambitious goal to be able to do that. Now, what she had been hearing is that there were some treacherous ski conditions and that there were a couple of spots that many skiers were falling. She decided to use her best visualization and anticipate that she was going to get past that part of the hill that was having those treacherous ski conditions. And she did. She gets past that. She sees the finish line. She is so excited. And then all of a sudden, something happened and she fell. She got up. She crossed the finish line. And she came in silver, second place. Now, the irony of this story is the gold place winner. The gold place winner also fell. The difference between silver and gold was the gold place winner got up faster. So think about all of those obstacles, those excuses that we're faced with all of the time in sales, that roller coaster that we ride, the number of times that we actually fall down, and we sometimes create that little pity party of what's going on. I know earlier this year we lost a major client, and it was challenging. However, I decided that I was going to get up real quick, just like Bonnie did. And I wasn't going to allow that to get in the way. And I made a list of at least 10 different strategies of what we could do to be able to grow back that business and make it happen. So when you fall down, get up quick. Get up faster than your competition. And the 7th and final factor is you. And as I could see, we'll see very shortly in the polls that many of you also thought that. The number one factor that gets in the way is me, myself, you. So here's where we have to take a look at how committed are you to your goal. So earlier I asked you, what is that big, hairy, audacious goal? What is that goal that you want to achieve? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to that goal? Is it a 10 or 11? Quite often I will hear 7 or 8. And if it's a 7 or 8, I know that the chances of that person achieving their goal is much slimmer. We've got to be able to have that fire in the belly. We've got to be able to anticipate what are those obstacles? What is our strategy? How do we map out the plan and be able to proactively and be brave to get this? I love Henry Ford's quotation here. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Whatever you think will happen. So take a look at what is that great goal and what you can do to be able to believe in your goal. You've got to be able to believe in it, not just set your goal, but believe in it, have that fire in that belly. So let's take a look at both the facts and the fun secret ingredient to achieving your goals. So first of all, the fact. We talked about the importance of the 3-year, 1-year, and 90 goals. This is not rocket science. It's really, really simple. But the secret ingredient here is simply the 7-day task. What will you do proactively to be able to achieve those goals? So if you've got some ambitious sales goals, maybe it's securing that one extra meeting. For me, it's all about prospecting. I have dedicated and I proactively set every Thursday morning from 7:30 a.m. to 8:55 a.m. in the morning. It's blocked in my calendar to be proactive and make those 10 calls in order to be able to grow my business. And when I'm able to do that, it's amazing how it helps me to achieve my goals year after year. The fun secret ingredient is celebrating. We work extremely hard, and these days sales is not always about fun. So we need to take the opportunity to be able to celebrate. When we set our goals, we need to take a look at what we can do to be able to celebrate our goals. Whether it's a great trip or here I am with an amazing sales team, and we are drinking champagne. It's the champagne toast at the sales conference in Las Vegas, celebrating many of the great wins and the achievement of their goals. So do we have any questions, Rupalyn, so far?
So far, no questions, but
okay.
Please feel free to enter any questions within the question function of GoToWebinar, and we can address them as we go along in the Q&A section.
And your questions can certainly be questions around how you can be coached to be able to achieve those goals. So let's take a look at our polls. We have some interesting results on our polls here. Do we have those? There we go, okay. So poll number 1. Rupalyn, is it going to show our polls?
Yep, poll number 1. A response is yes, already slam dunked it. You voted 26%. 31% for both B and C, B being almost there, will hit by December 31st, 2018. C, again, 31%, not quite, within 10% of the goal. And D, only 11%, voted, nope, not even close to achieving my sales goal.
So we've got some very optimistic salespeople, 31% who actually still feel that they're going to achieve their sales goal. Pedal to the metal as we get to the end of the year. Question number 2, what are your sales goal increases for 2019? There we go. So we've got 1 to 5%, 11%. 21% to say their sales goal increase is 6 to 9%. The major number of people, 28%, saying 10 to 19%, so double-digit growth. Okay. 21% saying over 21%. The most interesting insight here is that 19% of people do not know their sales goal for the year yet. Work to be done. Question number 3. What are your sales goals for 2022? 3 years from now. So 21% of people said no idea. They don't plan that far ahead. 19%, my company sets those goals. Maybe after today's seeing the factor that your company setting those goals will inhibit you to achieving your goals, what may change that. C, steady growth, 42%, approximately 20 to 30% growth overall, and 18% actually ambitious salespeople who want to double their sales in the next 3 years. Poll number 4. What gets in the way of achieving your goals? Look at this. An astounding 43% of people said me, you get in the way of achieving your goals. That's almost 50%. 24%, that time sucker, never enough time. 13% say they set them and forget them. 20% actually feel that their goals are overly ambitious. Okay. And the 5th poll. What is the strategy you deploy to achieve your goals? So B is the astounding winner here. The consistency of being able to hunt and prospect for new customers. 27% say it's growing their existing business. 6% say new products. So we can't rely on new product innovation as a way to be able to grow our business. Now here's one, only 6% of people are asking for referrals. This year at Teneo Results, we love to actually continue to practice sales and be great salespeople. And we've tried all sorts of ways to be able to grow our business. Prospecting, social media, hosting events. And when we take a look at what has been most successful in securing new business, it's asking for referrals. So again, salespeople have to ask for the business, but they need to even be more confident to ask for referrals. So interesting insight on those polls. Let's go back and take a look at, this is Bethany Bavard. Bethany was struggling to hit a sales goal of $400,000. She found that focusing on her ideal profitable customers, setting her goals, she loves that goals table. She realizes that whatever she puts on that goals table actually becomes reality. It also helped her to start to stretch her vision, to be able to believe that far more was possible. So she set a $1 million goal. And within a couple of years, she hit that $1 million goal and became part of the $1 Million Club. Then she set her aspirations even higher and exceeded the $2 million goal. And what she also contributes to that is just not being able to sell to anybody and everybody, but focusing on the right, ideal, profitable customers, having healthy margins, and most importantly, Betsy has young family. She wasn't willing to sacrifice her family and fun in order to be able to do that. So again, a great way to be able to take a look at how you can actually achieve your goals and still have a life doing that. So we're going to open it up to some questions. Okay. What are some questions that people have? So we're opening up the questions line, chat line there. What are some of the questions that people have about their goals?
I have a first one here. I seem to overplan and under-execute. How do you get the right balance, Lisa?
So here's where, and again, this person can actually continue to add into the chat line if they wanted to be able to do that is, so what do they want to be able, what do they mean by overplan? So, and it'd be interesting to see what this person's personality style is. Are they an analyzer who overanalyzes things? So again, I think what happens is that, you know, we set goals, we put plans into place, but we don't always anticipate how long it's going to be able to take. I think about, you know, when I put together a proposal, it always takes longer than I think. So again, I think we need to be realistic. So one of the things that I would suggest is, even over the next week, take time to actually look at and figure out where you're spending your time. Is it on proposals? Is it solving problems? Is it making prospecting calls? So then you can start to be able to take a look at exactly how your time is being used. Then that's going to help you to actually have a better plan, be a little bit more realistic about where you need to be able to do, and help you to actually execute the things. I know I live by my to-do list, and rarely do I ever get everything done on my to-do list on a day or in a week, because I have to admit I put too much on my to-do list. So again, take a look at what you can do and be able to prioritize. One of the other things that I would also suggest is, as salespeople, we're always looking for yeses. And yet, when it comes to all sorts of different activities, there's no shortage of things to be able to do. So the thing that I would ask yourself is, what will you say yes to? And more importantly, what will you say no to? And the things that I will say no to is I will say, is this in alignment with my goals? Will this activity or being asked to volunteer on this association help me to get closer to my goals? And so again, then that helps you to give yourself permission. What will you say yes to? What will you say no to? Okay, we've got another question there. Rippling, some more questions?
We've got another one here. What are the most common mistakes in setting effective, big, hairy, audacious goals?
So the question was, what are the biggest mistakes? So sometimes people think that they're too big, and I think that's why the 3-year goal makes it, because we're not going to be able to achieve that big, hairy, audacious goal in the next year. We need to be able to map it out for 3 years and then be able to map out a plan. I think also being able to put the SMART criteria to it too. So being specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and quite often the T stands for time bound, but I think it's important. I like to actually say the T stands for thrilling. So again, you have to have a goal that is so thrilling and even a little scary, but you want to be able to be committed to be able to achieve it.
I think the next one's a good one, Lisa.
Oh, and what's that one, Rupelin?
I have a sales agency. What is the best way to control a vendor that continuously changes direction and never provides clarity or participates in effective planning or goal setting?
That's a great one. So I would start off with a business review meeting and suggest, why don't we come together and let's identify during the past year what has worked and what hasn't worked. And so therefore you can do that business review meeting. I've done lots of those. I've done many of those because, yes, there's problems. So what could we do? And then how could we set goals together, be able to put plans into place, and hold them to be a little bit more proactive and accountable to be able to achieve that? I would then suggest that maybe you need to be able to set either 90-day, even weekly meetings with this. And so what you'll see is you may have to actually hold that vendor to be a little bit more accountable. So when you have that weekly meeting with them and saying, okay, here's what we said we were going to commit to, and they want to be able to wiggle and they come up with those excuses, they're going to start to realize that the expectation is that you're checking in or having that meeting every week in order to be able to help improve things. Now, it's not going to be able to be completely perfect, but it's certainly going to be able to help to improve what that vendor is. Okay, great question.
Another one here, can you still have small celebrations if your goals are not achieved, but you tried really hard?
So I think we do have to actually give ourselves a pat on the back. And so here's where we have to take a look at, and you may want to actually say, what's a goal, and then what's a stretch goal? And what are you willing to actually do to be able to celebrate? Because I think that too often we give up too quickly. So again, I would encourage, what is it that you're going to do? So for example, it may be something like today, you know, what do you want to be able to accomplish today? And put 3 things, 3 priority items that you want to be able to achieve today. And then you may want to treat yourself to that Starbucks latte this afternoon. So simple little things that you can do to be able to do that. Okay. And again, here's where, what is it that you'll have to do to be able to just make that little bit of extra effort to be able to achieve your goals? Because then you're going to feel better about achieving those goals, putting that effort in, and then it's going to feel really good to actually just have that little celebration.
I think we've got another good one. I have set goals, but I don't feel in control of the results. I bring up opportunities, but it's not up to me as to whether or not we win it. How do I gain some control?
There's some great questions. Those would be some great coaching conversations. So I'd have all sorts of questions to be able to ask that person. So can you read the question again?
I have set goals, but I don't feel in control of the results. I bring in opportunities, but it's not up to me as to whether or not we win. How do I gain some control?
Okay. So I'm going to ask a couple of coach questions. So first of all, what is in your control? And what are the opportunities that you are bringing forth that are contributing to that result? The other thing as salespeople, for many years we would work independently, and we're seeing that more and more we have to actually work more as a team. So who can you surround yourself with to help you to contribute and actually put more control around that, more accountability around that? Maybe you need to be able to bring other people in. It may not just be your boss, it may be people in the operations department so that you can do that. And then those are things that you can take a look at. I mean, as salespeople, we need to be successful in influencing customers to win. We also need to be sometimes even more successful in selling ideas and concepts and influencing people on our team. I think back to when I was in a role as sales. Certainly I had to do a lot more influencing with the operations and the distribution team to be able to make things happen. So getting them involved, having them be a part of the client meeting, hearing what we are committing to the client. And when more of that team can be a part of that and hearing it from the customer, they become more committed to that growth too. So hopefully that gave you a couple of different ideas of what you can do and ask yourself some questions. And if not, by all means, you can always reach out to me. I'd love to be able to have a coaching conversation. That sounds like there's a real doozy there. We want to help you to be successful, and we want you to help your team to be successful.
Lisa, we have a couple of people who are requesting for you to go back to your goal setting table with personal goals, sales goals, and self-development goals. Are you able to go back and do a little?
Yeah, okay. So do they want to be able to see the goals template? Or certainly this goals template is something that we can certainly offer to any of the people who are on today's webinar. We'd be happy to actually email that template because it's a wonderful tool and template to be able to offer. Does the person have any specific areas around the goals table? Do they want to see the goals table?
They wanted to review the categories with them.
Okay. So the 3 different categories are, first of all, and let me see, can I actually go back to it? Let me just go back here. There we go. Can everybody see the goals table? So 3 different categories. Sales goals. Second category is a professional development goal. And again, this could be anything, but it's really around how do we raise the caliber of salespeople? What is the skill, the desire, the promotion that you want to do to improve your game as a sales professional? The third is a personal goal. And again, we have to be able to make sure that we apply the SMART criteria. Okay? And you'll also see I do have a fourth category here is because we need to take a look at how will we celebrate. So 90 days, 1 year, and definitely how will you celebrate when you get to 3 years. So we'll provide this goals template. And there's some great questions because it will also help you to identify what are the obstacles that can get in the way of you achieving these goals, who can help you on your team, both internally and externally, to hold you accountable to achieve your goals. And one of my favorite coach-like questions that I love to be able to ask is, how will you be most proud when you achieve these goals? What's that great feeling of desire and accomplishment when you achieve that goal? Okay, great. So we're going to go back there. Any more questions?
We do have one, Lisa, looking for your advice.
Mm-hmm.
We have 3 goals that are set on an annual basis. We're supposed to set those goals and finalize those goals with our national sales manager. However, the 3 goals that are finalized are those strictly of our direct report, and we don't have any input in setting them. The 3 objectives are SMART goals.
Mm-hmm.
How would you suggest I approach my direct report at the end of the 6-month review time to professionally ask him and tell him that my goals may not be attainable?
So in this particular case, can you read it again? Just so they have 3 goals that they have to achieve, and they've got SMART criteria.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to confirm: are they set by the national manager or by them?
They have to be finalized with the national sales manager. And feel free to chime in after. However, the 3 goals are finalized are those strictly of our direct report, and we don't have any input in setting those goals.
Mm-hmm.
Control.
Yeah. So, and here's what we see so often, and I do a lot of coaching with sales leaders because it becomes frustrating. So I think setting goals needs to be collaborative, just like the consultative conversation. And so when we can be collaborative and consultative, and it's a two-way street, so one of the things that I always advise is to ask your direct report, what is their vision? So if they can start off and provide, say, okay, for the next year, for the next 3 years, what is your vision? What is your direction? And if they can give you some ideas of what they want to be able to achieve their goals, then you can then say, okay, let me come back. Now that I have a better understanding of where you want to be able to go, and we can hit that target, then you've got some input. And you can start to take a look at how do you explore those goals, then you can collaborate. So that it becomes a bit of a two-way street back and forth. Then you can be more committed to the goal because you know what the vision is. And then it's a goal that you can set that's in alignment with the vision and goals that are being set by your direct report. So hopefully that provides some feedback. And if not, by all means, please reach out to me afterwards. Happy to have a further conversation. Or perhaps I need to have a conversation with your sales leader. And that's one of the reasons why we said it was the biggest factor. Because when it's not your goal, you don't own it. And many people get frustrated before they even get out of the gates because they don't think the goal is achievable. Okay, we're going to take a look at, we got one more poll that we get some success stories that we want to be able to share here. Okay, let me share with you 3 different teams that have actually set goals and have had some tremendous success. And the importance of the role of the leader. So, resource group. And for those of you who saw the Globe and Mail the last week, where the Globe and Mail did an entire supplement on the importance of sales, an incredible article. Resource Group was one of the companies that was featured on the back page. When I first started working with Resource Group, they asked me to come to their sales meeting where we were going to be kicking off the training. And the CEO, Jeremy, had shared a big, hairy, audacious goal. I got pretty excited, and I could also see how the rest of the team also got excited about that goal. After debriefing with Jeremy, I said, how did you get that goal? And he admitted the goal came to him that morning in the shower. Now, I said, Jeremy, Now that you've shared their goal, I'm like a dog with a bone. I want to help you to achieve that goal. So this is a company that didn't typically always set goals. They had set goals, and in the first year of setting their goals, they grew their business by 25%. So again, when you've got a target, you're focused on the scoreboard, you create a winning team. The resource group also invested. The entire team earned their CSP certification. So it's an incredible high five on what they were able to do to be able to achieve and contribute to their success. BOSCH Power Tools. They had a very ambitious goal. Actually, their goal was around $96 million, and then they set the stretch goal of $100 million. They slam dunked that goal, and they've seen a direct correlation between those who earned their CSP to those being top performing reps. Another great success of a sales team slam dunking their goals. And the third success team is Sunstar. They sell toothbrushes and dental floss to dental practices. They have achieved their sales goals double-digit growth 3 years in a row. And at their last sales conference, their North American president showed up at their conference because he wanted to see what the Canadian team was doing and outperforming every other team. This is an incredible team, and one of the things that they also do is they also have an incredible goal that the top sales producer actually receives a diamond ring. There are 5 salespeople who are vying for this ring right now, and it's very, very close. But again, they put that carrot out there, and they are committed to being able to achieve the goal. What was so interesting at the sales conference is the North American president said, so Canadian team, I need your help. I need you to pick up the pace, because whatever pace you set sets the tone for the rest of the teams across the globe. So again, it's an incredible success. So certainly CPSA and Teneo results have sales training teams that want to be able to help you to set and achieve your goals. We are most excited to become now an accredited partner with CPSA, and we have our new programs, Purposeful Sales Strategies, Purposeful Business Strategies, and certainly a new prospecting program in order to help people achieve their goals. These programs all will work towards your CSA and CSP accredited designations, and we've had some incredible success working with sales teams and salespeople to be able to raise the caliber and be proud to be professional sales people with designations. We are just about at the top of the hour. Rupalyn, do we have one last question to be able to ask?
You've answered them all.
There we go. As we move forward and look forward, what are your big, hairy, audacious goals? What are the factors, the obstacles that could get in the way of you being able to achieve your goals? And most importantly, we need to be able to plan better, be strategic, be proactive, but most importantly, be brave. We need great sales professionals, stronger organizations who are helping businesses thrive and be able to achieve our goals. So make it a great sales day, make it a great sales week, and taking a look at how you're going to achieve your goals. And if you have any additional questions, by all means, you can reach out to me, lisa@teneoresults.com, or through the CPSA. Brooklyn's going to be issuing a poll very, very soon so that we can answer any of those questions and get your feedback. Thank you very much, and go team go in achieving your sales goals.
Thank you so much, Lisa. So of course, on behalf of the Canadian Professional Sales Association, thank you so much to Lisa Leitch and Teneo Results, our new accredited partner. And thank you so much to our audience for attending today. If you'd like a recording of this webinar, please note that this will be available in the Learning Hub within the next business day or so. And if you have any questions about this webinar or any other webinars, you can feel free to email me at salessuccess@cpsa.com. Launch that poll, the very last one.
Okay, let's do the last poll. The last poll is, which one of the 5 factors are going to get in the way of you achieving your goals? Oh, where's the poll there? Oh. with us today. So anyway, thank you everyone to attending today's webinar. Some great questions. And again, be strategic, be proactive, be brave. Thanks everybody. Thanks, Ripplin.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.